Um, Fear of being me. So it's interesting. That's where my journey started, and that's where it ended, really. And in retrospect, I can say that being so afraid of being myself was so deeply unconscious that I didn't really realize that what I was doing and what I was trying to medicate and what I was trying to find solutions to all my life. And it was springing from deeply, deeply repressed emotions such as fear, shame, anger. I didn't even know that was in my system. And all the stories that started to form around that repression and around this inability to, incapacity in that moment to be with that fear, to be with those intense emotions. So they had to be completely repressed to a point where a lot of memories surrounding the shameful event that I had were completely forgotten. I didn't even know that that event existed until I saw it 30 years later. So it was not just that, there was so much fear of anger, as my mom was quite violent and angry. So with this deep fear of anger, what started to create this constant command within my system to avoid anger by all means. And not just that, the anger was actually repressing my expression, my voice, my power, my sexuality, and so many other aspects of myself were repressed by either shame or anger and that deeply underlying fear of being me. Now, of course, I wanted to fix it, and unconsciously, where it went into medicating this uncomfortable inability to relate and to connect with others, because there's this intense shame about being myself, being authentically, expressing authentically. So it went into drugs, and it went into alcohol, and it went into all these really available places to medicate ourselves. And that brought a deep, 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 deep exhaustion, deep exhaustion. And with this deep exhaustion and my body not able to recover for a long time after, probably as of 16 years old to up until 24 and then up until 27. So for a good 10 years or more, there was always some recreational drugs that was constantly trying to numb my whole system of fear and repression into okayness so that I can relate, so that I can socialize, so that I can be myself. So that didn't work out. The next thing was enlightenment. So, okay, if the human thing is such a suffering, although it was so unconscious, then I have to transcend it. I have to transcend suffering. And I gave it all my might and all my focus and all my earnest, really, really deep, deep, deep desire to wake up. And it really worked. It really worked. In basically in 3 years, everything shifted onto doing a lot of yoga and a lot of meditation and a lot of mantras and a lot of sitting and a lot of being. But the interesting part is it didn't resolve that fear that I was looking for. It didn't, although I did transcend the human experience, the transcendence part was so dry and so disconnected that I begged for a full return to be fully human. And then that was deeply uncomfortable because I was not able to share that realization with anyone. I was completely still repressing my voice, repressing my expression, repressing anger, repressing shame, unconsciously, not aware to awareness. Now, the real solution started to come when I actually realized that it's not in the running away, it's not in the transcending, and it's not in like soothing my system, but it's fully plunging in and fully feeling the messiness of being human, the deep, deep, deep shame, the intense fear of my mom, the underlying repressed anger so deeply that I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know it would even possible to even go there, that I even had anger in my system, but it was so well hidden, it was so intelligent, my system, that it's just quite fascinating to find it. Now, with that, what started to happen, which is super available and awaiting to all of you, is that working with repression, it started to unpack all of the fears of being me, the self-repression, the voice repression, the power repression, the abundance repression, the sexuality repression. There were so many ways that I was repressing myself by repressing those emotions like fear, shame, and anger. And it's quite a fascination to see this me that was so scared of, this human experience me, this one individuating as particular, this one as Alina expressing, became a marvel to watch. No longer kicking myself and trying to fix myself into success, but actually just watching the effortless unfolding. And it's so fascinating. It's deeply fascinating. So the real solution was not the running away, but deeply diving into deep somatic repression that is so much more accessible when we are fully seeing that there is no escape of being human. And if anything, is to actually start facing the deep human experience, the messy human experience, and not leaving anything behind, so that everything can come back into wholeness. All of myself is okay. All of myself is totally welcomed. Even the resistance, even the discomfort, even the ugliness, even the darkness, even the deeply shameful parts of myself. So in this is the invitation to really start realizing that it is in the embodied journey that true enlightenment lies. Not the disconnected, transcended, but the really intimate, deeply intimate experience with ourselves and with life, with everyone else. And by me finding my anger, I'll no longer deprive people of my authenticity and my authentic expression. And that does not come out as rageful expression. It just comes out as I can state my truth no matter what, and not shrink back, and not disconnect, and not shy away. And this is the power. And this is my invitation to you. Stop trying to fix yourself. There's nothing broken. There's nothing broken. It's just that our systems, our body, mind, survival mechanism had to adapt these very unfortunate ways, but yet it was very useful at that time when we were very little and not able to process stuff. Now you can. Now you can process all of this. Now you can deeply feel all of this. Not as re-traumatizing event, but really diving in with pure seeing. Seeing is the awareness part, is the always already here isness. It's your existence. It's what we are. It's the space in which everything arises. So it's in the seeing, It's in the feeling, which is KI, it's processing, it's allowing, it's unpacking repressed stuff and feeling it and letting it fully permeate our whole nervous system and our bodies. It's in seeing, it's in feeling, and it's in living or mirroring. I call living mirroring, because we need to start living so that we can see where else we're holding back, where else we're still not whole, what else we need to inquire into. How can we go even deeper? How can we become even deeper, radically free to be oneself, to fully be oneself? I'll leave you with that. Get curious. How are you afraid of being you? Is it sexuality? Is it your power? Is it your voice? Is it your expression? Is it your emotions? Is it yourself? Is it all of it? I know the solution. And now you know too. Take care. Much love.